If you are not taking opportunities and having conversations with people about your goal and your dream, and you don't believe in it and you are not manifesting it and talking about it, then there will be no opportunity to come to you. Nothing will manifest, because as soon as somebody gives you something and you receive it, it'll hit the wall because you weren't open to it. Have you ever wanted something so bad, so desperately, that you would do anything for it? And sometimes you do give everything for it, but you don't feel like you're making any headway. Today I want to talk about a technique that genuinely manifested all this stuff around me. Like everything here that is going off, even though we're in a construction site right now for the new podcast studio, from the building to the goals we've achieved to everything, was manifested through this one technique. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about, with science, with examples, and with my personal story as well, to prove that it did actually work. Today, I'm talking about writing down goals. And I know you've heard that before, but this truly is something you need to embody. Let's dive into the episode. I heard about writing down goals years ago. Whilst I was training to be a professional basketball player, it's something that I started to practice through my coach. In fact, I was reading a book on Phil Jackson, the Lakers coach, and he talked about manifestation. And it was one of those things that I started to realize that manifestation is a really, really important factor to success. But writing something down, bringing it into the physical from here, is the next step that needs to happen. And then I heard the famous Jim Carrey story. To not butcher it, Jim Carrey's story. In the early 1990s, Jim Carrey was a struggling actor, and he wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered. And we've made a video about this, you might have seen it. And he dated that for Thanksgiving 1995. He kept that check in his wallet, feeling the power of this $10 million check, visualizing himself achieving this goal. And then in 1994, 4 years later, he landed a role on Dumber and Dumber. We've all watched Dumber and Dumber, which paid him $10 million, fulfilling the check and the goal that he'd written down for himself. Now, some people might go, that's absolutely rubbish. It's luck. It just happened. I can assure you that if you don't bring it out of here, that dream that you have, and you bring it into the physical, it's very, very difficult to manifest a goal. And for me, I've always believed that it is the crucial next step to achieving something. So we all have dreams. We all have these ambitions. We all think about these things. Sometimes we'll daydream. Sometimes we'll scroll through Instagram thinking about the dream house or the dream job or whatever it is. And we don't bring it into the physical. And writing it down is doing exactly that. And there's studies behind this, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on in the video. But I want to talk about my personal experience with this. This building right here in 2018, we purchased it. And we had no financial backing. We had no ability to do so. We didn't have any money. We didn't have great jobs. We didn't really have anything that could have manifested this. A year prior to this, I wrote down the goal. There's a video of me writing down the goal. There's a video of me speaking about specifically that in a year's time, we would have this building. And I did it to the detail, to the basketball court that is over there, which is ridiculous, to the studio in the back, to the offices upstairs, to the cinema room, like all of these things in very specific detail we'd written down. And now I'm sat here in this building, and the steps to achieving that were made possible because I wrote down the goal. I didn't only write down the goal, I also then manifested what it would feel like to be here. And that's why when I achieved it, it didn't feel weird or strange because I'd already been here before. But it all started with writing down the goal, taking that goal, putting it on my fridge and looking at it every single day. It's a crucial step to start moving forward towards success. So before we get onto the science, how do you do it? I know writing down a goal sounds so simple. It is simple, but you have to be very specific about it. So step one is to be specific. The most important thing is be clear about the steps that it's going to take. So if I wrote down buy this studio. There is financial implications to that. There are skills that I may need to know or learn to be able to help build this place. There are skills and steps that I need to be able to acquire to be able to do the research of what it takes to have a studio, what it takes to run a studio, what I'm going to require in terms of power outlets and space and size and location, all these kind of things that I had to teach myself, I had to write down as part of the goal. So we write down the end goal, build the Mulligan Brothers studio, whatever that is, but then we get specific. How much is it going to cost? How big is it? How much square foot? How many desks can that have? How many editors can that have? How much filming can you get done in that space? And so on. Break down your goal, be specific. This is a very, very important step to write down a goal. Use positive language. So I would frame everything that I do with a positive light. Every single wording for it, I would have, it's not a question of, it was more of when. It was more about when we get the studio, we will, very, very positive, assertive language, in my opinion, is required. You may have an idea up here, you may write it down, but if you don't believe in it, it will not manifest into reality. So being positive about it on paper also means that you have had those thoughts in your head. It also means that every single day you see that on your fridge, that goal on your vision board, you are also affirming that it is possible. You are also affirming the confidence that you have in that goal every single day. And it's cyclical. It's a cycle of like a snowball effect that constantly enforces itself. If there's negative language, if there's questioning language to that goal as you write down, imagine walking past something, has your goal attached to it, but it also has negative language attached to it. How positive is that going to be every single day if you look at it and you're like, I don't know if I can achieve that. I'm not too sure if that's possible. Be assertive and write positively as if you already have the goal. That's the trick. If we write something down and we're trying to manifest a specific goal, if we do not put an end date to that, as humans, we give ourselves as much time in the world. You know, we, for some reason, think that we're going to live forever. This is this weird belief that humans have. At some point, as children, we fear death. As we get a little bit older, we start to think that we live forever. And when that happens, you know, in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s, life skates by like that. And if you don't set a goal, you'll be the guy at 60 years old who I shoulda, I coulda opened this business, I was going to, or you'll be the guy in his, 40s or 50s, like, I just need to do this first. I just need to get in a better financial situation. I just need to buy the new house or do the renovations first. I just need to get this promotion in my job. I need to save to a certain amount. The need to guy who never does, because you think you've got more time than you have. Set a deadline. If it is important to you, the deadline should supersede everything in your life. Nothing should come in its way. That's how badly you've got to want it if you're going to do this. If you're going to try and be extremely successful, you're trying to build something that is unique and different for your family or for yourself or for your local community, it's going to take something special. And to do that, you have to have a deadline in sight. You have to be unreasonable with that goal if you want to achieve it. You have to put it first. And when you put a deadline in that, it makes it clear cut. It's not about the renovation of your house, because you can't do that, because you've got to fulfill on this goal first. If you're like me and millions of other people, you probably lead a busy life, and that's where this stuff comes in absolutely clutch. I know that I just scoop, shake and go, and I'm ready for my day. There are other companies that are trying to do what Huel is trying to do, but they use cheap ingredients. Sometimes it requires you to take 15 pills, or preparing food, trusting supplements with subpar ingredients, and also taking 15 pills a day is just something that we don't all want to do. That's where Huel makes health possible. Black Edition has 40 grams of protein in, 26 vitamins and minerals, and every single ingredient inside this has been carefully selected by Huel's expert team. So you know you're getting the good stuff. Don't just take my word for it. Millions of other people around the world are now using Huel as part of their daily routine. People like Idris Elba, Stephen Bartlett from the Diary of a CEO, Hardest Geezer, the man who ran the entire length of Africa, was using this stuff.
If you want to join the movement, go to the link down below where you can get a free t-shirt, a free shaker, and also if you subscribe to Huel, you can get 10% off every single order. This is next freaking level. Go get some.
Once you have the urgency to fulfill on the goal, then you need to review and revise constantly. You need to question whether you are on track. It's so easy to get high on our own supply. It's so easy to blow smoke up ourselves because we are too confident in what we're trying to achieve. You could set a goal of, building a business, and you could be like, yeah, I'm definitely on track. What I'm creating is great. I'm doing the business plan. I'm doing this. I've done the research. But in reality, you might not be taking the steps required. You might be beating over the same cycle and the same thing over and over and over again and making no progress. So you need to review and revise. You need to see if you're actually tracking along towards the goal. You need like a percentage bar attached to that goal. Fill it in. Put something on there that is like a certain amount of information that breaks down the goal, and you could just shade it in. Similar to life posters. You could create like a square system that you shade in. But any way in which you do it, you do need to mark up whether you are working towards it. If you're not making progress, but you're just making progress in here, you're not going to achieve your goal. You're going to find yourself towards the end of the year panicking and going, oh, I'm no way near creating what I said I would create by this time period for that goal. I'll give myself another year and another year and another year. And that's not going to manifest anything. Okay, so, now we know how to do it and to take actual practical steps. I feel like maybe the people who don't believe in writing down goals and achieving it can understand that, oh, actually that makes sense. And some people will be like, well, that takes the magic away from it. Like, you have to do work. Because sorry, but that is the way it is. Like, you have to do the work towards it. I think some people thought you could write something down, throw it out into the universe, and that would be it. Jim Carrey might have had that check in his pocket, but he was also working towards it every single day. He felt, this is how it worked for him, he felt a burning hole in his back pocket. He felt that check, where he would have his wallet in his pocket, and he was reminded of that every single day to take the steps that he needed to take. And for me, the writing it down is, one, getting it out into the physical, two, being reminded constantly of the goal with the attached confidence, and three, taking those steps towards it. It's not about just, that's it, it's in the physical and that's how it works. I wish it was like that. I wish that bringing something into the physical realm is all it required. It's the first step. It's not the last step. So it's so important. But now we've broken that down, and hopefully some of you believe in it. Some of you might think, oh yeah, I believe in it, but it's not exactly magic. No, but it's important. Let's talk about the science though. So, the physiological mechanisms at play. So writing down goals, it helps clarify the intent and the commitment. And that's, this is all the kind of stuff that we know, but it activates the subconscious mind to recognize opportunities aligned with these goals. And this is what I'm talking about with that check in Jim Carrey's back pocket. Once you have it written down and you're seeing it every single day, you think opportunity comes to you, and you think that because I wrote it down, I'm manifesting this opportunity. What actually happens is your subconscious is opened up to the goal, and you feel like a magnet. You feel like you're attracting all these things. But what happens is through our lives, we will walk past thousands, if not millions of opportunities throughout our lives. Opportunities that would have led to our dream life, but we didn't have our subconscious open to the goal. Once we open and we have an awareness, we are like a magnet in some ways, but we still have to go and find these things. You cannot draw something in from the other side of the universe. What is happening is you're walking around awake with your eyes wide open. And once your eyes are wide open and you're awake and you understand what you want to achieve, you start grabbing the things as you pass by. You start taking in, you start saying hello. And there's something about that person that for some reason feels right. You say hello to them, they get a conversation going. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe they pass you by. Maybe you do that to 20 people. And on the 20th person, it's a film producer. And you're in a coffee shop speaking to a film producer. Oh, I'm an actor. My name's Jim Carrey. And you go down this path of finding those opportunities because your subconscious is open. Your eyes are wide open to the goal and the dream, and you start to bring it into reality. Opening the subconscious is so important to achieve this. But this is science. This isn't, it sounds like woo-wah, but it's true. if we're just talking about statistics here, if you are not taking opportunities and having conversations with people about your goal and your dream, and you don't believe in it and you're not manifesting it and talking about it, then there will be no opportunities to come to you. Nothing will manifest, because as soon as somebody gives you something and you receive it, it'll hit the wall because you weren't open to it. You weren't awakened to the goal. So the science behind it, let's rip through some of these quickly. Dominican University study of 2007 conducted by Dr. Gail Matthews. This study found that individuals who wrote down their goals were 42% more likely to achieve compared to those who only thought about their goals. The study highlighted the importance and accountability of action plans. Number 2, Psychology of Setting Goals, Locke and Latham, 2002. This research established the specific challenging goals led to higher performance. The authors found that writing down goals creates clarity and focus, improving motivation and commitment. Study on written goals and accountability in 2016. Research at the University of Scranton found that individuals who write down their goals and share them with friends are more likely to accomplish those goals. The social aspect of sharing the goals provides additional motivation and support. Goal setting theory, Locke and Latham. Numerous studies in this field have found that setting specific measurable goals along with self-monitoring, like we spoke about, significantly increases performance. Writing down goals is a crucial step in this process. And then we can talk about stuff like the impact of visualization by Taylor. The research examined how visualization techniques combined with written goals enhances performance and achievement. Findings suggest that visualizing success while having a written goal leads to better outcomes. Efficacy of goal setting and physical activity. A study published at the International Journal of Behavioral Medicine demonstrated that individuals who wrote down their goals, wrote down their exercise goals, were more consistent in their workouts, illustrating how written goals can lead to behavioral changes. NLP goal setting, Bandler and Grinder, we're almost through this. Neuro-linguistic programming NLP principles emphasize the importance of writing down goals as a way to program the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind, very important there. This aligns with various psychological studies showing that clear written down goals influence behavior and decision making. And the last one, the science of motivation. In 2000, the research focused on intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Writing down goals enhances intrinsic motivation as individuals become more personally invested in their object when they articulate them in writing. These studies collectively highlight the effectiveness of writing down goals. They also include a lot of the techniques that we talk about, like manifestation. I wish there was bigger studies. The Harvard study that people quote is not real. I hear this Harvard study written down a lot, and it's like the class of whatever wrote down a certain amount of goals. Of those people who wrote down those goals, 10% of the 90% who didn't write down their goals didn't achieve it, and whatever. It's not true. It's not a true study, but it does highlight some of these studies. I wish there was a more in-depth one that we could look at with more data, but this is what we have at the moment. And if we're talking about businesses, we could just lean on this for a second. Every single business that you see out there, the most successful, all the successful businesses had a business plan. In fact, all businesses pretty much should have business plans. Some people don't do that, but have a business plan. If you're in cryptocurrency, that would be a white paper. If you're into sports and athletics, it would be your coaches and your career plans. Like every successful person, whatever it is, successful company, successful project, film, art, there are plans. We put plans in place, and it's so overlooked for our own personal goals. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why we have the evidence out there that it's important, but then we don't write down our goals. We don't create a sense of urgency. We don't create step plans to achieve those things. I promise you, if you are not going to write down that goal, but you really want it, but you're not going to write down that goal, you're really going to struggle. Just get it out of your head onto paper. If that's the one thing that you take away from this video, write it down. And I'd love you guys to come back to me in 3 or 4 years and, show me what happened after you wrote down your goal, because I know you can bring it to reality. My anecdotal evidence for achieving goals is everything. Everything I've achieved, from the films that we edit, this studio, my personal finances, health and nutrition. I write down my goals, personal life, like everything is written down. And when I write it down, I achieve it. It just happens. Like it's never not happened. And I know that sounds strange or might sound egotistical or something. I'm not lying to you. Like that's just the truth. Like those goals have been achieved. There's some goals in my head now. I've just thought of, one of my biggest goals. I've not written it down. I haven't achieved it yet. And I probably haven't written it down because I'm too scared to write it down because it's such a big astronomical goal that maybe I don't think I'm capable of doing it. And maybe it takes me receiving a bit more evidence from myself to achieve that goal. But I need to write it down. It will never come to reality if I don't write it down and put steps in place to achieve it. And I want to sort of, ask you of yourselves, do that mental exercise and think about the goals that you want. Think about the things that you really, really want in your life that you haven't achieved yet. And consider writing them down. Consider doing what we've spoken about today. So this is a quote that I think is sort of captures it all, and it's a goal without a plan is just a wish. To me, that's the distinction between the two things. And I have a lot of wishes in my head too. I'm not the only person. I'm a big dreamer. But when they are wishes, they have never been achieved. It was only from the moment that I started to put the plan in place that I achieved it. And that started with writing it down. Anyway, guys, I think some people feel that it takes the fun out of it, especially when we're artists and creatives. I think business guys get it a little bit more, but it's something I've ran up against myself. It's something I've ran up against with colleagues, something I ran up against with my brothers. Writing stuff down and planning it seems to take the fun out of it. But I promise you, when you're on that journey and you're on that path and you're checking those boxes and you are working towards a goal, that's the most fun you're ever going to have. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'm just a guy who's given his opinion on a subject matter. So don't take it all on board. Make your own decision. Think freely and go out there and inspire change yourself. Do the work that you think is good, that is going to help other people. It's going to inspire the world. It inspires yourself. It'll inspire other people, and just work passionately with purpose. And somebody's watching always. And if they're not, I am. So thank you so much for being a part of this movement. I also want to thank Brass Monkey, one of our sponsors. And I've not been paid to do this at all. They're just, they've given us an ice bath that I'm looking at right now. They've given it away to my charity. So if you do a £5 donation with the link down below, you get an entry into the ice bath raffle, and all the money goes to helping bereaved parents. And yeah, it's the documentary's coming out soon of the stone lift, but if you want to win the ice bath, go down below. And also, as always, thank you to Huel for sponsoring the video and making everything that we do possible. If you want to find out more about what I'm drinking, this is Huel Black Edition. Go to the link down below. And if you sign up to their subscription service at the moment, you get 10% off all future orders. And if it's your first order, a free shaker and t-shirt. So thank you to Huel for making this possible. I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Peace.